I started to trim my hair and then my trim turned into a cut. Hi everyone, this is Abena. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel, Embrace Natural Beauty, where it has been my goal to share with you simple tips and techniques that have been helpful for me in my own natural hair journey, which has been literally, in just a few hours, 9 full years. Yes, I cut my hair on August 30th, 2011, and in just a few more hours, it's going to be August 30th, 2020. And so I've been sharing with you here on my YouTube channel basically tips and tricks that have helped me in my own natural hair journey. Yes, my own natural hair journey. And I've always told you how long my journey has been at the very beginning of every video. So it will be 9 years in just a few hours. These tips have helped me to maintain my hair, to keep it in good condition, and to retain length, which was always my goal. Because I want all of you who watch and who follow me to better maintain your hair, to keep it in good condition, and to retain length if that happens to be your goal, so that you enjoy your hair and embrace natural beauty of your own. Now in today's video, this is a little off. I know you haven't seen me making regular videos in a while, and I'm going to be talking about that in the next series of videos coming up. But for today, because it is approaching my 9-year anniversary, and I had something significant happen in my natural hair journey, which is what I typically share here on this channel, I started to trim my hair and then my trim turned into a cut. So yeah, what you're looking at here is cut hair. And I'm always talking about length retention. So I'm going to talk about what that means in terms of length retention when you're cutting your hair as opposed to trimming your hair, how much you retain length and so forth. But for the most part, I want to get into this video and share with you why I had to do my own cut and my own trim and how I felt about it, and a few more of my thoughts about what I want to do with my YouTube channel as I continue to connect with you all and your natural hair journeys as well as I share mine. A few weeks before cutting my hair, I made a couple of entries for my personal video journal that I included here for you to get a sense of what I was experiencing at that time. Okay, this day one using Uncle Funky's actually is more, let's say, slicked down. It's a heavier hold than the Mono's hair. So you can see it's much flatter. And the definition looks great. Day one. Day one using a different product combination. It's much flatter today. Has lots of movement, very soft, very little crunch, and this is a really nice outcome. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one expands over the course of the week. But yeah, day one, not bad at all. Today marks day 8 of this wash and go with the fireworks in the background. I didn't get a chance to get it yesterday because it rained before I got a chance to come out here. So this held up extremely well, considering that I went running literally every day of this wash and go after the day after it was washed. So by day 2 I was running every single morning. Let me just check my calendar, but I believe so. I believe I started running Tuesday morning, and I sweated so much that I had to change the way that I wear my hair at night. I really want to clip these ends. The shape is not working. It's not working at all. So there you have it. I was looking at my overall shape. I wasn't even literally thinking about trim. I was thinking about the shape of my hair, and I wanted it to be nice and full at the ends, not looking the way that it was currently looking. I didn't like it. All right, for the first time, as a natural, I will be trimming my own hair. It's been since December. And my stylist is not going to be available for another couple of months, so let's get started. The quarantine ended in New York, and I began taking clients on June 9th. But my stylist has a compromised immune system and told me she would not be available for several months, maybe November at the earliest. And knowing that I wasn't going to go to anyone else, she encouraged me to cut it myself. My trim prior to this was in December of 2019, and I was just getting back on my routine of trimming my hair every 3 months. You can see I actually documented this on my Instagram and my Facebook. If you look in 2019, how I went from the various months in between trims, and I was just getting back on track. And so I noticed in my experience that having my hair trimmed every 3 months really works for me because I have areas of my hair that grow extremely fast. And so by having the ends manicured every 3 months, the hair just grows very nicely together and I keep a nice shape. That first cut was probably the most conservative of all the cutting I did throughout the remainder of this here session. It was my first time putting scissors on my own hair ever. I've never done cut and destroy ever. So here I am cutting my own hair for the first time. It was a weird feeling for me. So I was very, very, very conservative. That's going to change. Keep watching. And sure enough, that very next section, I didn't bother trimming that. That's a cut. And already, just like that, cutting fever has begun. I was no longer thinking about, oh, let me just be conservative. No, I'm going in. I want those ends to be full, nice and full together. That's the goal. I have no idea how much I'm cutting off. I didn't do any length check before doing this. I didn't do any length check after doing this. I didn't do any measurements. My focus at that moment and has always been to keep my hair nice and full together so my overall the shape of my hair looks complementary. Now I have what's known as, and I recently learned this as well, I have what's considered two-dimensional hair. Most of us with natural hair, with our naturally curly hair in a fro, have three-dimensional, have a nice shape, but my shape is two-dimensional, but I happen to like it that way. In fact, I'll insert what I really like. When my hair is all falling nice together, I like the way my hair looks in its two-dimensional shape that it is. Even though I cut considerably in that first round, this second round I have the hair just sitting on my shoulders. So where it's sitting is where I want it to lay together, and I'm cutting it from that vantage point. And now I've sped up the video as you've already seen my approach to cutting at this stage, no longer conservative. I know I'm going to get in there and take off this hair so that it falls the way I want it to. And I'm pretty close to what I want. I'm just looking at it, checking it, and I think the front is good. So now I'm going to turn around to the back. And in the ponytail, it actually gathers together fairly nicely with a few pieces that tend to hang a little long. But when I take it down, it looks a little bit more jagged. So this session right here, the way that I had to cut it was a little difficult for me because going back and forth with the mirror, trying to get those long pieces and not really getting them was not as satisfying as when I was cutting the front. So I did take considerable amounts off, but just trying to get those really long pieces, trying to find where they were and put them back and make sure I didn't overcut was something I was working on at this time. I was initially conservative with those long pieces since I was taking them out of their position to cut them, but those skinny pieces from my low porosity section were not spared. I've allowed them to grow long because they grow slower than the rest of my hair, but in its curly state, I could tell it was not adding much to the overall fullness of my shape, so I cut them off. And this section coming up had several curls that were bent. So I knew they were a group of the ones that were hanging long, and I was able to cut straight across. And then I get into this section here where you can see some pieces were hanging long, but these curls just look so juicy. They weren't bent or anything like that. So I went in and I worked it out, and I was pretty conservative cutting in that area. And I would say I was pretty conservative cutting over here as well. Now again, I'm looking at the overall shape in the back and I can see some long hairs sticking out, and I'm trying to see how I can get my hands on them. If I hold it in the ponytail, will I get it? No. Let me see if I reach back there, will I get it? Will I luck out? And sure enough, I got it. So now that I got it, I throw it back in there, but look, the hair doesn't even fall exactly where it's supposed to. But I keep moving, cutting off the other ends in that section. Still trying to find those long pieces so I can cut just a little bit, put them back, make sure that was the right piece. And sometimes I think I didn't actually grab those long pieces, so I just gave up and said, okay, let me take a look at this now. So you can see a few of the pieces are still a little bit long, but overall it was satisfying at that moment. I knew I wasn't going to stress myself trying to get those few pieces, so I just let it go and back to the front. This is the part that gets most of my attention. Actually, I don't see the back of my hair, so it doesn't really bother me. It's the front that bothers me. So as long as I actually got all of the ends of my hair and every strand or every curl got cut, I know I got fresh ends. So now my attention is back to the front, the part that I see, the part that frustrates me, and I'm just trying to get it even more to my liking, which never seemed to ever come. It just something kept drawing my attention. Like this hair, this is toward the back. This is the low porosity section. So those hairs usually don't look really pretty. They don't have nice juicy curls all the way to the end. And they weren't being spared with this cut because I didn't like the way they were looking. If I didn't like the way the curl looked, I was cutting. I was becoming cut crazy. See, this was July 6th. Throughout the month of July, every time I saw a curl that I didn't like the end, if I didn't like the way the end looked, I cut it. All throughout the month of July, I was cutting, 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 cutting. And then finally I just said, you know what? You're never going to be satisfied. So just let it go, leave it alone. And I put down the scissors at the end of July. And in August, I have not cut any bit of my hair. And now we're going into September. I have not cut since July, and I'm not going to cut it anymore until it's time for me to go get it trimmed. But yeah, this was July 6th. This was the end of the cut. I think I'm done. Let me see. I'm going to let the video keep going as I'm looking at the hair. What I'm liking here is that as I shake my hair, it just lands. I don't have to move it around. It just lands where it's supposed to, and it's nice and full. So at this point, I literally on July 6th was very satisfied. The front was very satisfying. The back, I already knew it wasn't perfect, but it was satisfying. Everything about the cut on July 6th was satisfying. I don't know why, but throughout, like I said, you see, this is what I would do. Here's an example of what I would do when I was at work in the salon. I had my shears right there. If I saw a curl, just like that, if I didn't like the way it didn't curl, then I would cut it. And yeah, that happened throughout the month of July. So that's what I wanted to share with you here. This is what I went through, but on July 6th, the initial day of all the majority of the cutting, I was happy. It was my first time cutting my hair. Actually, I don't intend to do it again because you see what I did to myself. I mean, not that I was unhappy with my cut, and I'm certainly not concerned about length. I have ridiculously long hair, and I have had my hair cut before. I know I typically trim for length retention, but I have had it cut throughout the series of years, which I've shared also on my Instagram, which you can take a look at on my Instagram page. Now that we've reached the end of the video, I'm just so happy to share with you that I will be making more videos here on my YouTube channel and sharing with the YouTube community what I'm doing right now with my hair, specifically trying out various products several times even, because sometimes when you try a product, the way that you apply it to your hair the first time, you learn some things and you figure out ways to apply it in an even better way to get better results, more lasting results, greater definition, and so forth. But as a stylist, I am always interested in various products that are coming out, specifically the ones that are going to yield the type of results that I am specifically looking for. I have an idea of what my clients want and I know what they are trying to achieve. And so combining all those interests is something that I'm looking to do. I pretty much can put any product on my hair, sure, and get good results. But how do you get even better results? That's what I'm working on, because I'd like to be able to share that with my clientele. And as I go through that process, I'm happy to share that with you here on my YouTube channel. So please stay tuned. Make sure your notifications are turned on. That way you'll know when I upload these videos. I look forward to sharing with you more in the next several videos. Take care for now.